During a time of post-war optimism and technological advancement, a mysterious flying object crashed in the desert near Roswell, New Mexico, sparking an international phenomenon that still captivates our collective imagination today. The flying saucer craze of the 1940s and 50s inspired iconic movies such as Close Encounters of the Third Kind and books like The Day the Earth Stood Still. Countless theories and conspiracies continue to swirl around the event, and the mystery and intrigue of this post-war era continue to capture the public's imagination. It appears that UFOs have been a source of wonder and fascination for Americans since the earliest days of colonial settlement. The first recorded UFO sighting in America dates back to 1639 and was chronicled by John Winthrop, a prominent Puritan leader and prolific writer. Winthrop was instrumental in establishing the Massachusetts Bay Colony, which had a significant impact on the development of the United States. In his account, Winthrop describes a group of sober, discreet, and credible persons who witnessed a great light in the night over Muddy River in Boston. Winthrop meticulously documented the events of his life, including the challenges faced by the inhabitants of the Massachusetts Bay Colony during its first 19 years. Amidst his numerous writings, Winthrop recorded a peculiar incident in which a mysterious object may have abducted 3 men in a boat. Additionally, Winthrop documented 2 more sightings of UFOs over Boston Harbor in 1644. Winthrop's extraordinary accounts of aerial phenomena in early America, which were largely unknown, have garnered significant attention in recent years. This surge of interest followed the admission by federal government and military officials that they have been investigating UFOs for several decades. Previously considered a fringe conspiracy, stories of paranormal, unexplained, and potentially extraterrestrial encounters have been elevated to the mainstream, captivating the interest of scholars and serious analysts. Winthrop, a devout Christian and dedicated nation builder, was one of the most serious figures in early America. Despite the challenges of establishing a new civilization from scratch and governing a fledgling society, Winthrop diligently documented nearly every aspect of life in the colony for almost 2 decades. As governor, he was primarily responsible for maintaining order in both civic and social matters. Winthrop was born to prosperous families, Adam and Anne Brown Winthrop, on January 12, 1587 or 1588, in Edwardstone, Suffolk County, England. As a teenager in 1605, he began keeping a journal, chronicling his growing devotion to Christ. However, his faith was increasingly at odds with the national sentiment when King Charles I, an Anglican sympathetic to Roman Catholicism, ascended to the throne in 1625. In the spring of 1630, Winthrop set sail aboard the Arbella with a group of Puritans on an expedition to establish the Massachusetts Bay Colony, located approximately 35 miles north of the Plymouth Colony, which had been settled by the Pilgrims in 1620. Winthrop's words on the ship have resonated throughout American history, as he delivered a sermon known today as the City Upon a Hill speech. Drawing inspiration from various biblical passages, Winthrop spoke to a brave group of people seeking to leave the decaying old world behind and create a new society devoted to Christ in the new world. He warned that their actions would be scrutinized by the world and that they must remain faithful to God's work, stating, "For we must consider that we shall be as a city upon a hill." The idea of American exceptionalism, of a new society that would serve as a model of Christian charity for the world, was reinforced by Winthrop's City Upon a Hill sermon. Despite being a serious and hard-working individual who devoted himself to his faith and the founding of the City Upon a Hill, John Winthrop reported strange and unexplainable events that defy rational explanation. One such event was a UFO sighting he witnessed on a winter night in Boston, which he documented in his journal alongside more mundane details of business dealings with the natives. On March 1, 1639, Winthrop recorded a sudden shift in topic. In this year, one James Everell, a sober, discreet man, and 2 others, saw a great light in the night at Muddy River. When it stood still, it flamed up, and was about 3 yards square. When it ran, it was contracted into the figure of a swine. The light darted around rapidly for a few hours before disappearing. Winthrop noted that the men found themselves unexpectedly carried back upstream against the tide to their starting point. In 1644, Winthrop recorded 2 more UFO sightings, the first on January 18. Winthrop wrote, "About midnight, 3 men, coming in a boat to Boston, saw 2 lights arise out of the water near the north point of the town cove, in form like a man, and went at a small distance to the town, and so to the south point, and there vanished away." According to Winthrop's account, there was another paranormal incident witnessed by numerous people a week later. Winthrop then wrote, "A light like the moon arose about the NE point in Boston, and met the former at Noddle's Island, and there they closed in one, and then parted, and closed and parted divers times, and so went over the hill in the island and vanished. Sometimes they shot out flames and sometimes sparkles." Despite being a trusted source of his time, Winthrop never mentioned the eerie unidentified objects again in his journal, which was not published until 1825. These mysterious passages were largely ignored as his writings were primarily used to gain insight into colonial history. The strange encounters remain a mystery to this day. John Winthrop passed away due to natural causes on March 26, 1649, at the age of 61 or 62. He was laid to rest at King's Chapel Burying Ground in downtown Boston, one of the oldest cemeteries in the United States, established in 1630. Significantly, the city he founded and nurtured would, after 145 years, spearhead the revolution that led to American independence.